Executive Director, Involve Africa, Ibrahim Owolabi, now joins me to discuss this. Good to have you on the news.
Good to be here.
Yes, indeed. Now, how can this much talked about inclusiveness be achieved for youth in governance?
Principally, when we engage and involve young people in policy formulation, it's a strategic way to drive good governance so that at the end of the day, we're achieving inclusive governance. It's a very unorthodox strategy and then a way to circumvent roadblocks when it comes to policy adoption and implementation of policies. So what this is saying is that young people must be part of the decision-making process. So they might not be in government in terms of being government, being in parliament, but when you're making policies, you must factor them in, because whatever really that is not for the youth, that is for the youth rather, without the youth, is not for the youth. So when the government is developing policies, the African government must see this as a new way, because there are lots of opportunities in this. When you involve young people in the policy development framework stage or your strategy plan of action, it's easier. They will cascade it to other young people, and then implementation will be very easy. And it's also a way to assure young people of inclusiveness.
Yes, indeed. I mean, what in specific terms are some of these policies that can drive this inclusiveness that you talk about?
So for instance, let's take employment policy as an example. So when you're developing an employment policy for a state like Lagos or the country Nigeria, you don't just want to have people with the older generation talking about the employment issues. Young people that are really unemployed, they feel the base of the unemployment reality must be at the policy formulation. Another policy that's very critical here is the educational policy. So you're developing an educational policy for informal education. You don't just want to do it without young people. At this stage of policy, at every stage of policy development, key stakeholders that are direct drivers and enablers of the policy you're trying to make must be part of it. So if you do not involve those directly affected, it is sine qua non to wastage. So those involved must be, included or involved.
Every now and again, you hear this about, the need to achieve inclusiveness for the youth. But is the Nigerian youth, let's even be specific, is the Nigerian youth really ready to take over? Because a lot of people will say that the average Nigerian youth is distracted by so many things.
In all honesty, you can't use the worst of us to judge the rest of us. Because we see some young people that are not useful to the nation does not quantify that every Nigerian young person is not useful. That average statistic, to another point, is faulty. A lot of young people in Nigeria are really doing a lot. I'm a young person, so I'm in that cycle. I understand the grounds my colleagues are breaking in entertainment, in entrepreneurship, in media, in fashion, in banking, in finance. Just name it. Young people of our country, of Africa generally, are breaking barriers. So because the worst of us are the ones we see every single day, it's not a good affirmation or a good way to conclude that the average youth of Nigeria is not ready for leadership. We are truly ready, but most of the people you see are the worst of us. They are not a perfect representation of the Nigerian youth.
Thank you so much.
We're ready.
Thank you so much, Executive Director, Involve Africa, Ibrahim Owolabi, joining us there.